Boom! We are live. Let me just get set up here. I'm a little late. Just sign in here. Doo-doo-doo. Beep beep boop. Boop boop bop beep. Alrighty. We are live. We're live. John Falcon, what's up, brother? Football Cards 12. Thank you for the compliments on the thumbnail. Really appreciate it. So, how's everybody doing? You know what? Enough of that. Let's go ahead and get started. What's going on, guys? I'm Jake the Lawn Kid. Welcome back to another episode of Lawnfires, where the fires are hot, the lawns are green, and the questions are engaging. Thank you guys for coming back for another. As you guys know, this is a brand new show that I started this year. It's a brand new show that I started this year. Those of you guys who've been watching, you already know what it's about. But for those of you guys who are new here, I want to go ahead and welcome you and tell you a little bit about what this show is. So basically what it is it's a weekly, well, mostly weekly during the fall and winter and springtime. But during the summer, this year I tend to get a little off. But anyway, what it is it's a weekly live talk show where I sit down and I answer all of your questions live and in real time, sometimes in front of a bonfire. Now, the reason I don't have a bonfire tonight, or in the past couple of weeks, really, it's also why I haven't had a show. It's just been really hot and dry here in Northwest Indiana. In fact, it's starting to get a little dry. My lawn is actually starting to show signs of drought stress, and because of that, I'm going to have to compensate with a little bit of watering. So I'm going to be doing another in-depth video all about lawn irrigation coming up in probably coming up in the next couple of days or so. So make sure you stay tuned for that. So anyway, that's basically what the show is. With all that being said, let's go ahead and get into the goodness of this show, and that is answering all of your questions. Now, oh yeah, real quick, one more thing I forgot to mention. This is not going to be this is not really going to be a long show tonight. This is going to be a quickie. In fact, it's only going to be 30 minutes, and the reason that is because I'm going to be heading to a festival tonight with my family. So I'm gonna, that's one of the things I've been trying to make a lot of time for this summer, was a lot of family time, and you guys know how I am about that. That's very important. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut the episode short tonight. We're going to do 30 minutes, and I'm just going to answer all of your questions. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and get into the chat here. What's up, everybody? What's up, Mike Hankinson, if that's how I pronounce your name? What's up, brother? John Falcon, roll call. Oh, wait, wrong day. That's right, man. Wrong channel, too. That's Matt's thing. Charger548, what's up, brother? Ryan Lawrence, how you doing? Salvador Ramirez, how you doing, brother? Grace Ortiz, good to see you as always. Gamer friends, hey Jake, I have these weeds that look like grass, but they're almost lime green. What is it? If I had to guess, probably Poa trivialis. Poa trivialis is a very grassy weed. It's typically around in the spring and summer, but what was I going to say? Typically comes around the spring and the summer, but when conditions are favorable for it in the summertime, which is very unusual, we're getting a lot of rain and cooler temperatures, then it can start to pop back up. So if you notice any Poa trivialis in your lawn, there is one way to take care of it. You can go ahead and spot spray any grass and weed killer to kill it, but that's not something I recommend you do right now, especially in the heat of the summer. What I would do is I would just keep mowing the lawn like normal, just work on the existing grass that's there, and I promise you, with time, it'll go away. All right, let's see what we got here. Alan, what's up, brother? How you doing? It's been a while since I've talked to you. Gamer friend, how should I treat it? Just especially if it's an area, especially if it's in an area that holds water. Oh well, in that case, John Falcon, it's nutsedge, and really the only way you could treat that chemically would be sedge hammer or tenacity, anything that controls nutsedge, and then whenever. And then whenever you're dealing with, if you don't want to treat it chemically, the best way to control it, just try and dry the area out. That's all I can tell you. So if it involves readjusting the grade or, getting out there with your blower and just drying it off when you can, then you should be fine. All right, let's see what we got here. Mow the shrooms out. Just don't eat. That's funny. What's up, Aiden? How you doing, brother? Glad you can make it tonight. Welcome to the show. By the way, Aiden, I don't know if you just got in and heard this, but it's gonna be a quickie tonight. So, sorry, buddy. Barry Kavanaugh, what's up, brother? Chris Zogby, what's up, man? Man, I miss being in Northwest Indiana right now. I've spent most of the last few years there for July 4th. Yeah, man, you should have came up. You really missed out, Alan. I'm telling you. We had some really good fireworks shows going on here in Rurman Park, man. You should have seen. I don't know if you saw my last video, but they blew up the freaking stage in the end, dude. It was crazy. Probably the best fireworks show I've ever seen in my life, man. I'm telling you. Next year, Alan, you got to make it up here. All right, let's see. Football cards. Woozy, how you doing, man? Let's see. Let's go ahead and get some questions now. So anyway, to all of you, hello. Blind Guy 210. Are lawns on average in Northwest Indiana nitrogen deprived because of all the rain in spring? That's a great question. Now, Blind Guy, I'm not going to be able to dive too much into the science behind that because it's not a. What was I going to say? See, whenever I'm in a rush to try and get things done, I often find myself in a pickle when I try to talk. Like my brain is just fried. I've been working all week. What I'm trying to say is that, I mean, it is a natural occurrence. If you are getting a lot of rain in the spring, it can flush that nitrogen out. And again, the best way to compensate for that, especially in an unusually cool and rainy summer, which is what we've been having so far, up until now, it's actually starting to get hot and dry. But what I've been doing during that time is I've just been taking advantage of it. I've been continuing to push my lawn harder than ever, and I've been continuing to push my lawn harder than ever. So for those of you guys using Milorganite, you can keep going at 3/4 pound. Or those of you guys who are using the Liquid Next products like the 1801 Green Punch, you can go as high as 21 ounces with that right now. Right now, if you're still cold and rainy where you're at, but again, we are starting to come into typical summer conditions right now. We're starting to get hot and dry. And because of that, all I'd recommend to all of you out there who are watching this, I know I haven't gotten a question about it yet, but I figured I'd just say it right up front, is that what I recommend as we're coming into the summertime, we're getting hot and dry, the rain's going down, temperatures are coming up, just make sure that you lower your nitrogen inputs, lower your doses, and make sure that you irrigate during this time, deep and infrequent, because the idea during this time is we want to continue to promote deep root growth for the years to come. Because while we're not going to have the deepest root system right now, especially if we're starting out, we want to make sure that we're watering the lawn deep and infrequent so that water could get down in there to encourage those roots to go deeper. So then that way, in the long run, we don't have to water as much in summers in years later to come. Oh yeah, Alan. I wonder if that blow up was a mistake. No, it wasn't. I thought it was. I thought that's what it was too. That was actually like their big finish for the show. I gotta say, that was the best freaking finish I've ever seen. William Martell, Jake, love the channel. Always look forward to yours and Alan's videos. William, thank you very much, brother. Thank you for tuning into the show. Chris Zogby, should I put dye on my lawn like others do? I don't know if that's. I don't know if you're making a reference to Doc's Super Juice that everybody likes to joke about, or just putting liquids on your lawn in general. But hey, man, if you want to, go ahead. As long as it's not a herbicide or a pesticide or a fungicide, just go ahead, have a little fun with it. It ain't gonna hurt anything. Yeah, clay soil has very little nutrient value in general. I agree with you, Alan, there. And yes, it is very easy to add to it. And that's another thing. Like, Al, I've been listening to your podcast, buddy. I like one thing you mentioned that I completely agree with you with is that clay soil is so dead. And what I like about that is that it's easy for you to start from scratch instead of starting on something that was already put together for you. I like that. Grace Ortiz, when is the best time to put the Dethatch Next product down? Well, Grace Ortiz, if you're in the same conditions I am, temperatures are in the 70s, well, no. If temperatures are getting up into the 80s and the 90s, then that is a great time. That is a great time to get down an application of Dethatch, because that product, while it's meant to stimulate more microbial activity in the soil by eating up all that thatch and putting it down into the soil, that process is heat activated. So the hotter the temperature is when you put that product down, the more efficacy you're going to get out of it. So when in doubt, just wait for the hottest summer day and put that product down, and make sure that you water it in for a good 10 minutes just to get it down, just to get it into the soil surface so that it could start doing its job. John Falken, is it easier to amend soil that has nothing than correct poor soil? Yes, John Falken. In fact, Alan and I, we just had a little quick conversation about this. It's better, if it's in your control, it's better to start with nothing and start to slowly build it as time goes on. Now, that's all I'm going to say about that. William Martell, I take your cool and rainy summer. Virginia has been in the high 80s and 90s with now rain for weeks. Yeah, man, I guarantee that you. Chris Zogboy, last question, will the lawn dye stain my driveway or sidewalks? Thanks. Well, Chris Zogby, that's not really something I can answer directly because I don't know what product you're spraying, but what I do recommend you do is read the label on the product you're using, as label is law, and it will answer a lot of your questions. So when in doubt, read the label, my friend. All right, let's see what we got here. I always say that. In the 90s here, I'll put it down tomorrow. Yeah, Grace, get it done. All right. Well, now I gotta wait for the chat to catch up because there's no way we only got 4 people in here. No, we got a good 50 now. Yeah. Anybody ask anything? Let me refresh it real quick. That's what I'm saying. I love how active the chat is, and then I'm skimming through it. I'm answering questions. I'm on top of my game, and then all of a sudden the chat is finished. So anyway, it's been a very unusual summer, as you guys know. It's been very cool and rainy, and because of that, you guys have seen me make tons of videos on the channel where I talk about how to make a good course correction for this year. In fact, I've been talking a lot with the CEO over at Greene County Fertilizer, John Perry, and he's been telling me the same thing. Like, Jake, when it's raining this much, it's easy for nutrients to get flushed out of the soil. In fact, that's also part of why I'm going to go ahead and get off topic here for a second, but it's very important. This is actually one of the scientific reasons why we tell you not to water frequently and shallow, as a lot of you guys do. You water 10 minutes every day and that's it. While that's fine in the short term of things, the lawn looks really good because it's constantly getting water. What you got to realize is that when you're constantly watering it like that, you're flushing nutrients out, right? You're constantly flushing nutrients out. You're not giving the lawn time to dry up. In fact, it goes the same way when you do water an hour and a half, but you're watering too much. If you're watering every day of the week for like 2 hours a day, then that's going to create problems in the soil, as it's going to cause nutrients to just flush out. And because of that, the only way to fix that is just to put more nutrients into it. So whether that's, granular or liquid fertilizer, like the 1801 Green Punch or the Milorganite I talk a lot about, it's all about figuring out what nutrients you're low on and just applying products to compensate for that. Jason G, I have clay soil all my life. It's all I know. I used to hate it, but I'm learning to love it. Yes, Jason G, I completely agree with you. It's a really great soil when you optimize it to the best of its ability. Have you started using Carbon X fertilizer? Not yet, but I want to. Still waiting on my shipment, Matt, if you're watching this. Michael McNair, what's up, Broham? How you doing? Brent Blair, I put 18 ounces of humic 12 on bare thinning spot today. Will I be okay with the heat? Yes. In fact, let me tell you something, guys. If you think you can ever overdo it with humic acid, you are thinking wrong. In fact, if you don't think you're putting down enough of it, you should probably put down some more, because I promise you, humic acid, it doesn't do any it doesn't negatively affect the soil. It doesn't negatively affect the soil. All it's going to do is it's going to help build the overall quality of that soil. In fact, I actually have an example for you guys. You guys know Pete over at GCI Turf. He recently did a video. I don't recommend you try this, but it was pretty good. Where he talks about where he's using the Strom sprayer, and he literally dumps 4 gallons of raw humic 12 in there and blanket sprays his 8,000 square foot lawn that he's trying to create over his shop. And he said the same thing. You know, you can never go too crazy with humic acid. Now, is it recommended that you go that much? No, but if you do go a little heavy, just realize that there's nothing to worry about. It's only going to help improve the overall quality of your soil in the long run. John Campbell, how often can you put down humic 12? Well, you can put it down as often as you want. Now, according to the PDFs over at Greene County Fert, they usually recommend about every 2 to 3 weeks, and that's typically where I am. In fact, sometimes I'll wait a little longer, sometimes every 4 weeks, but ideally every 3 weeks, and sometimes I'll even go crazy and put it down every 2 weeks. But ideally they recommend you know, waiting every 3 weeks. But if you want to go crazy and put it down every 2 weeks, I promise you have nothing to worry about. Just water it in right after you put it down, a good 10 minutes to get it down into the soil so they can start working and improving that soil. All right, what do we got here? I feel if I don't water my lawn, it won't last this summer. Yeah, Brent Bear, I understand exactly what you're saying. Just make sure that you stay on top of the watering, my friend. Remember, like I always say, ½ inch each time, 3 times a week, deep and infrequent, you should be fine. Donald A., I believe you could be inspiring to your little sister. Thank you, man. I really appreciate that. Me and my sister, as we do banter a lot, we do, you know, we argue, we break each other's, we break each other all the time. We love each other. The camaraderie is just great around here. I love it. Did you see John Perry's dose of humic 12 in today's video? Yes, I just got done watching it. He sprayed an area with a gallon of humic 12. I'm telling you, that's crazy. I'm thinking about doing that in some bare spots in the future, so stay tuned for that. By the way, sorry if I'm a little cluttered tonight. I'm trying to answer everybody's questions. Trying to answer everybody's questions in a timely manner, as I only have 30 minutes tonight, so we're on the clock. Jake, what's your take on hydrotane during hot, dry summer? Worth the money, or is it better to spend money on watering the lawn? Well, William Marteau, I can't really conclude any trials of my own because I'm currently doing some trials right now, but you won't hear about those till later. You really won't hear about the Hydretain trials till later because I want to continue putting it down. I want to give it time to work and do its thing, and I also want to do some side-by-side trials. But based on what I've been seeing, according to Alan's videos, where he did it with a pot of annuals. He did 1 pot with Hydretain and 1 pot without. The results were lackluster. It was pretty crazy. So the results were drastic, and I just want to do some trials on my own. Stay tuned. JD Robbie, I'm going to hit an epic dose right before overseeding. Go ahead and do it, man. I'm telling you. It's only going to help. Do you water in your green effect and microgreen? If so, how much? I put down double dark twice, 9 ounces per 1,000, 6 ounces per 1,000. Haven't really got any color change. My lawn is green, but not where it should. Okay, so Justin L., it's really your choice. It's really a choice. You can water it in or you can just leave it. Now, personally, I like to water the products in anyway because I like to get them down into the soil and working. Now, to be honest with you, it's all about perspective, right? What I want you to realize is that if you're at your house every day and you're seeing your lawn every day, and your lawn does change color, it does it very slowly. And even though you're there to watch every single step of the process, you're not really going to notice the drastic difference because you're constantly looking at it. Whereas if you bring in someone from the outside to look at it who might have seen your lawn a week prior and is coming to follow up on an inspection today to see how the application did, they might notice a bigger difference than ever. In fact, a good example would be it's kind of like when you open your pool for the season. And this is a great example because I was actually at my grandmother's house over the weekend, I was actually at my grandmother's house over the past couple of weeks getting her pool open, and this pool was probably the biggest disaster I've ever had to deal with, right? I opened this pool, the water was black, well, and there's a lot of reasons for that, but I won't go into that today as far as closing it, but the water was completely black, you couldn't see the bottom, it was terrible, right? My grandma was having a freaking heart attack. Not figuratively. Not literally, but figuratively. She was just all over the place. She was like, look, and literally within 2 weeks, that pool was crystal clear blue. Now, I can see a drastic improvement in that because I'm only over there once a week doing the work, and I come back a week later to get a checkup. Whereas my grandma, it's her house. She's there every day. She's constantly seeing that pool. She just doesn't really notice the fact that it's getting better. Like a good example of, to dive a little deeper into that, would be the fact that when I was there last time, the pool was looking really crystal clear. In fact, you could swim in it at this point. But when I was over there, I'm really trying to bring this home. So, but because she's over there all the time, even though the pool is crystal clear, she's constantly, looking at the nitty gritty. Like she thinks that it's really getting worse when in reality, it's getting better. She just doesn't notice it because she's there looking at it all the time. You got to realize things aren't always going to change overnight, and you have to have a little bit of patience. In fact, if you're constantly looking at your lawn, which is a good thing, try not to pay as much attention to it, and I promise you, you will notice a change in the color of the lawn. Like I said, it's the same thing in life. Like when you see someone that you haven't seen for a long time, and they've changed physically, and they've had a big change in their physical appearance, it's the same thing. Whereas someone who's lived with that person for a long time, they don't really notice it because they see that person every day. They don't notice the changes in that person's physical appearance, whether it's good or bad. It's more so from the outsider's perspective. So to bring this home, to bring this home, what Justin L was talking about, not really seeing a color change, I'm telling you, you probably did get a color change. You're just not noticing it because you were there. Remember, to bring this home, it's all about perspective. It's pretty good, right? Carson's Exploring Channel. So how's your riding mower going? Carson, it is doing really good. I use it every week to cut my customers' lawns, and I gotta say, nothing has gotten me through faster. Now, I know a lot of the pros on there are going to be like, wait a minute, Jake, you can't speak on that until you get a professional zero turn. Well, here's what you got to realize, right? I'm taking my steps into becoming a legit business. Like, I've been doing this for 5 years, and when I started 5 years ago, I had nothing but a trimmer and a weed whacker. I had nothing but a trimmer, a blower, and a push-behind mower, and I literally used to tether everything behind my mower. In fact, I've actually done a video on this channel a while back showing you guys how I used to get around the neighborhood, pre-lawn tractor, cart attached to the back of it, all that stuff. I basically showed you guys my setup and how I got around the neighborhood. And I gotta say, this tractor is a big step up from all of that and all of the triumphs and failures that I've had to come through in this past year. So to answer your question, Carson, it's doing great. I probably could have just said that, but I think it's really great to get detailed. David Williams, I got a ton of crabgrass. Any suggestions? Well, if it's popping up right now and we're about early to midsummer, you're not really going to be able to control that with your standard. You're not really going to be able to control any of that pre-emergently because it's emerged at this point, right? It's actively growing in your lawn. So this is where I would have to tell you to consider. This is where I would tell you to consider a curative measure or a post-emergent measure. And what you have to look for is conchloride. So you can find conchloride in really any three-way weed control. Just go to the store, look for the active ingredients. So like I told you in my weed control video, read the label, label's law, look for active ingredients, all that stuff. If you have conchloride in there, that should be just fine. Now, if the crabgrass is really mature, like if we're in the mid to late summer, I guarantee that crabgrass is going to be way, way mature. You're probably going to want to consider some alternatives to that three-way over-the-counter weed control that you can get, like maybe a higher concentration of conchloride to control the more mature crabgrass. But at this point, what I would tell you is just go to the store, Pick up any three-way weed control that contains active ingredient conchloric. Spray the crabgrass. Use the surfactant by the way, weed control stick better and work faster. And just wait a couple of days and see what happens. I promise you that might solve a lot of your problems. Michael McNair, how often do you put Hydretain down? Michael McNair, I don't really have a specific regimen. I'm just putting it down when I think the lawn needs it. Like if I notice that we're getting very hot and dry and the lawn's starting to stress a little bit, then I go ahead and put it down, especially in the areas that I'm not able to irrigate just because of the way my spigot is set up here and the level of commitment I have. I just don't have enough commitment to water this entire lawn, so I only break it up into a small section that I keep irrigated in the summer. Hope that makes sense. My front yard is full sun all day, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Do you recommend tall fescue or Kentucky bluegrass for the overseed? Well, Matthew Durevich, I don't really have a specific answer for you. All you have to do though is just, it's not so much the grass type that you get, but it's more so the variety of the grass type, right? And this is where I recommend that whatever variety you choose to get, as far as seeding, just make sure that it's a shade tolerant. Or wait a minute, I believe you said you get all sun all day, right? Just make sure that whatever you get is a sun mixture, an all sun mixture. Or if you want to add a little variety to the mix, there are some sun and shade mixtures you can get. And as far as the best brand of seed to get, as a beginner, what I recommend is just anything you get at the store, like Scott's or Pennington, great choices. But when you use seeds like that, you're holding the risk of putting weeds into your lawn, because oftentimes in those grass seeds, they contain very small percentages of weed seeds in there, and those small percentages can equate to a lot of weeds in your lawn. So as far as what to do for that, just make sure whatever seed you get is clean, and you should be just fine. You guys know I talk a lot about my friends over at seedsuperstore.com. They make great quality seed. In fact, if you call Drew over there and tell him the situation you're dealing with, he will put together a blend of seeds specifically for your situation. In fact, that's why I like going to a boutique type seed supplier like that, is because they're going to make they're not only going to give you a high quality blend of seed, but they're giving you seed that's made for your situation. Thus, it will do better in the long run. So as far as www.seedsuperstore.com, that's my buddy Drew over there. They're doing great stuff. They're doing great stuff over there, making great seed for your lawn. I am going about 12 weeks apart with Hydretain. Oh wait, I believe I got a couple comments in here. I just started on the Hydretain on 31,000 square foot of grass. Still waiting on results with rain only. Irrigation is not an option for me. Gotcha. Well, I hope all is well, because I'm doing this with you. Carson Exploring Channel, David Williams by the bar. It's not for me. All right, well, we are nearing the end of the show here, so I'm going to go ahead and answer the last few questions in here, and then that's going to be it for today, because I got to head to the fair with the family. Where can I purchase the high lift blade for Troy-Volt 21 walk behind mower? Brent Blair, I have no idea. If I could help you out, I would. Eric Von Whittle, Jake, what's your opinion on battery-powered lawnmowers and tools? Well, Eric Von Whittle, to close this off, I think they serve a really great purpose, especially if you're a first-time homeowner. And to be more specific with your situation, if you have a very small postage stamp type lawn that's like 1,000 square feet or all the way down to 500 square feet, I think that's where battery equipment wins, because there's really no point to make a hefty investment on a lawnmower to only cut 500 square feet of grass. It's just not practical. So I think that battery-powered mowers and trimmers, they really fill in that gap of, hey, you know, I want to get something quality for my lawn, but I want to get something that's going to cut my lawn efficiently, and I want to get something that's going to provide me a quality cut and do it efficiently, but without making that lofty investment in a gas model. So I think that to put a bow on this, I think battery-powered equipment does a great job of filling in that gap. All right, I'll do one more, and then I got to get off here. Chris Waken, should I hit the lawn with propiconazole and then a couple of weeks later hit it with something like Quali Pro? Is that more beneficial than 2 straight prop apps? Chris Waken, well, whatever you're doing, just make sure that what I recommend you do is if you want to put the propiconazole down right now, that's a great idea. But just make sure that whenever you follow up in the next couple of weeks, that you follow up with something that's in a different group or a different class, right? It doesn't matter what you put down as long as it's a different class fungicide compared to the one you put down previous. And the reason I say that is because if you continue to put down, say, a class 3 fungicide like the propiconazole, and you're constantly putting that down on a regular interval, while you're getting control, what's going to happen over time, because you're using the same fungicide, is the disease in your lawn is going to start to develop tolerance for that. So what I recommend you do to avoid that is just make sure that however often you're applying fungicides or whatever rotation schedule you're on, make sure that you switch them up. Like maybe you do a class 3 fungicide right now, and then 2 to 3 weeks later, according to however long the label recommends you do as far as intervals, maybe 2 to 3 weeks later, follow up with a group 11, and then maybe follow up with 2-3 more group 3 applications a couple of weeks later. So you get what I'm saying? The idea is that you want to rotate back and forth between different class fungicides as they have different mode of actions, which will result in less fungal resistance to the fungicides you're putting down on the lawn. All right, well, I hate to cut this short, guys, but like I said, I'm actually going to be heading to the Cherville Fest tonight with my family. I think it's the Cherville Fest. No, it's the Highland Fest. Yeah, I'm heading to the Highland Fest tonight. Gonna go hang out there. Gonna go have a good time. So I just want to get in here real quick, let you guys know that everything is still good. I'm still alive. I've just been really busy this year. I hope you guys understand, but I promise you, as time goes on, we will start to return to a regular show in the coming weeks. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and sign off here. I'm Jake the Lawn Kid. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys this Sunday with a video. If I don't see you guys there, you're going to be dominated, bro. See you later.